If you can't find true love, work hard, make money, and enjoy your single life in peace. Nobody has ever died from being single.
Picture this. You're scrolling through social media and suddenly see dozens of women posting videos with titles like, "Being single is bankrupting me," and "Why is independence so expensive?" What's happening here? Are we witnessing a massive shift in how single women view their financial reality? Or is this just another case of social media drama? Today, we're diving deep into this trending topic that's got everyone talking. Let me start with a story that perfectly captures what we're seeing. One woman posted about spending $600 on car brakes, then immediately paying her $500 car payment. In just 3 hours, she burned through $1,100 on things that weren't even fun. Her frustration was palpable as she described working constantly just to cover basic necessities. This isn't an isolated incident. Women across social media platforms are sharing similar stories, and the pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. The core complaint centers around what many are calling the single tax. These women argue that society is structured in ways that financially penalize people who live alone. Think about it from their perspective. When you're in a couple, you split rent, utilities, internet, and streaming services. A single person pays the full amount for these same services. The math is straightforward, but brutal. If rent is $2,000, a couple pays $1,000 each.
Every girl needs to be financially independent. So you're not just someone's wife or someone's daughter or someone's sister. Your identity will be defined by your ability to be independent, and that comes with finance in the world that we live in.
While a single person carries the entire burden. But here's where the conversation gets interesting and controversial. The women making these videos often acknowledge loving their independence and choosing the single life, yet they're simultaneously expressing frustration about bearing the full cost of that choice. This creates a fascinating contradiction that sparked heated debates online. Critics argue that you can't celebrate independence while complaining about independence costs. Supporters counter that pointing out systemic financial disadvantages doesn't negate the value of autonomy. Let's examine the specific financial challenges these women highlight. Housing represents the biggest expense. Whether renting or buying, single people face the full cost alone. For home purchases, single applicants often need larger down payments and face stricter lending requirements due to having only one income stream. Council tax and property taxes offer minimal discounts for single occupancy, typically around 25% rather than 50%. Utilities present another challenge. While a single person might use less electricity or gas, much of these bills consists of standing charges that remain constant regardless of usage. Internet, cable, and streaming subscriptions cost the same whether one person or 5 people use them. Travel becomes particularly expensive when you can't split accommodation costs. Hotel rooms, vacation rentals, and even Uber rides to airports become individual expenses rather than shared costs. The grocery shopping dilemma deserves special attention. Many women point out that cooking for one person often costs more per serving than ordering takeout. Buying ingredients for a lasagna might cost $75, creating 6 portions that one person must consume before spoilage. Meanwhile, food delivery apps offer discounted meals that can cost less than $9. Bulk shopping at stores like Costco becomes impractical when you're buying 36 apples for one person. What makes this trend particularly noteworthy is how it challenges previous narratives about female empowerment and independence. For decades, Popular culture celebrated the single woman living her best life, making her own choices, and needing no one. These recent videos suggest that narrative may have overlooked practical realities. The women aren't necessarily saying they want relationships. They're questioning whether society makes single living artificially expensive.
If a woman is single for 2 years, 3 years, or even longer, it's not because something's wrong with her. Most likely, it's because she's intelligent. Now, that's not to say women in relationships or marriages are less intelligent.
Critics have been harsh in their responses. They point out that men have dealt with these same expenses throughout history without the same level of public complaining. They argue that choosing independence means accepting the full cost of that independence. Some suggest these women want the benefits of autonomy without the responsibilities that come with it. The criticism often takes on gendered tones, with people suggesting that women expected others to subsidize their lifestyle choices. The historical context adds complexity to this discussion. Women couldn't obtain credit cards in their own names until the 1970s. Home ownership, business loans, and financial independence were largely inaccessible. The fight for economic equality was long and difficult. Now that women have achieved greater financial independence, some argue they're discovering what men have always known. Independence is expensive and sometimes lonely. Economic factors beyond personal choice contribute to this situation. Wages haven't kept pace with living costs, particularly housing. What previous generations could afford on single incomes now requires dual incomes for many families. Minimum wage, once sufficient to support entire families, now struggles to support individuals. This economic reality affects everyone, but single people feel it most acutely since they can't share expenses. Some women have gotten creative with their complaints, suggesting they might consider relationships purely for financial reasons.
I don't have time to hate someone. Not when I'm busy building myself, growing my soul, and chasing peace. Hate slows you down, and I'm moving too fast for that. I'm focused on becoming the best version of myself.
One woman jokingly said the only argument she had for getting into a relationship was expense sharing. Another suggested looking for partners with 2 jobs to help with financial burdens. These statements, whether serious or satirical, highlight how financial pressure can influence life decisions. The hobby and social expense factor also emerges frequently in these discussions. Single women often invest more in activities, classes, and social experiences to fill time and meet people. Yoga retreats, pottery classes, surfing lessons, and coffee shop visits add up quickly. While coupled people might spend evenings at home together, single people often feel pressure to stay socially active, creating additional expenses. What's fascinating is how this conversation reveals different perspectives on responsibility and choice. Some view these complaints as valid critiques of systems that disadvantage single people. Others see them as examples of wanting benefits without costs. The truth likely lies somewhere between these positions. The broader implications extend beyond individual finances. If being single becomes too expensive for middle-class people, it could affect relationship dynamics, career choices, and life planning. When financial pressure drives relationship decisions, it raises questions about autonomy and genuine choice. Moving forward, this conversation highlights important questions about how society structures costs and whether current systems fairly distribute financial burdens. Whether you view these complaints as valid concerns or entitled whining probably depends on your broader views about independence, responsibility, and societal support systems. What do you think? Are these women highlighting legitimate systemic issues, or are they complaining about natural consequences of their choices? Have you experienced the financial challenges of single living, or do you think shared expenses justify shared lives? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more discussions about social trends that are shaping our world.